Hello there, I'm Linda V. Taylor and this is Best of Both Worlds. We are doing a very unusual sunbonnet Sioux today, so stay tuned. I am so excited to work on this quilt. It is amazing. I bought it at Quilt Market and it's an antique sunbonnet Sioux. I don't know if the pattern appeared in the newspaper or what, but these umbrellas and the little flowers and everything are so interesting. So let's get started. I did a different design on each set of the flowers. They kind of look like little tulips, but I did all kinds of freehand on them. So I'm just going to show you how I'm going to complete this one. I'm just going to come down to a point and then work back a little bit like that, and then just make some feathers on the way back down. Like that. And then again, up to a point, work my way back down a little bit, and then start my feathers on the way back down like that. That made a really cute little flower, and that kind of oval with points is really going to show up. Okay, I am going to finish doing the stitching in the ditch around the applique, and also I will complete some of the freehand at the same time. I'll show you what I mean. I brought my thread up and taken a few security stitches, and now I'm going to use the applique helper, which I use the most of it is on this side, and that way I can put my thumb right there and keep my hand nice and flat and use my left hand to really help me stay where I need to be. I'm just going across the neck there, and then I'll come around the bonnet. When you go around the applique, you want to stay as close to the applique as you can without stitching on the applique. So come around the bonnet like this, down the other side of the neck, and I'm going to stay on just one side of this umbrella handle. But when I get up to this point, and this is why those photographs were so good, I am going to take off my applique helper and just fill this part in with some regular little stipple. Like that. Then I'll come back here, put this back on, and continue to come up the handle, right on one side of the handle, like that. Again, just staying right next to it. It really doesn't take that long to go around your applique. For me, it's always a daunting task, like, oh boy. And you can go really, really slow and stay right next to it. I am in 14 stitches to the inch and regulated, and I suggest that you use a smaller stitch when you are going around applique or stitching in the ditch. You can see what I had when I finished putting in my designs with the Statler, with the computerized machine, is I sort of had a rectangle turned to the side. So I had to decide where I was going to break my feathers. And on this umbrella, I decided just coming up about an inch or an inch and a half here and going over to about the middle of the bonnet. And so I'm just going to draw a line with my chalk pencil, and it will be barely distinguishable, and I can get rid of it very easily, of course, if it still shows. But that's where I'm going to put what I have designed, the feathers around the umbrella. So I had to distinguish areas, like from over here, coming up this little stem on the flower, that side going up and around the bonnet is one area, and then coming down the other side is going to be the other area. I've got a little area down here, and I'll do that first when I roll up. And then I distinguished the area at the bottom, which I do first, and then the next area. So filling in the feathers, getting them all beautifully on there isn't that hard if you make sure you know where you're going. And no, they're not going to all be exactly the same, which is beautiful, I think, but they all look the same. I'm in constant now, and I'm going to start my feathers. If I come up about 1.5 inches here and over to here and just draw a chalk line right there. I know it's really hard to see for you, but I can see kind of where that is. And I'm not going to worry about staying exactly on that line either. Just going to let the feathers go where they need to go. I will be going back and forth between the fill-in feather and the long arm feather. And I'll kind of let you know when I do that. I'm going to start out with a long arm feather right here, like this. Then as I come around here, this is kind of the fill-in feather. And this will be able to reach out, clear over to the design and back. I am in constant. Now, not all of these were appliqued on the same, so I have an area up here where I can continue to put feathers, and I think I will. That's going to be my pivotal feather. And then I will start these coming back this way. So I changed directions by making one a little bit straighter. Go right to the edge of the other stitching, which I did in the beautiful coral color. And I love it to be able to change the colors of the stitching and not do it all the same. Just keep coming back to the top of that umbrella and over. Just moving at an even pace here. Still at the top of the umbrella there. This one's going to be 1 and 2. Now these are going to just come to the line. Like I said, I don't know if you can see the line. I can see it pretty well. And these will sort of turn this direction. I'm not worried because anywhere I've left, I will be able to fill in with other feathers. And just another feather right there. Let's look at that. Beautiful. I'm at the bottom of the little girl now. I'm going to start with a feather like that, and then these are long arm feathers, and they're leaning. These are all leaning to the left, leaning. And then right here, I'm going to do a heart, and that changed my direction. So now I can come this way, and they're all leaning to the right. I want a nice feather coming out right there. So now I have these feathers at the bottom. This one had a little bit more space. You can see they're not all placed the equal distance from the bottom. But you can see what a nice base that made for this little sunbonnet. Sue. Now I will fill in this bottom part inside of this stem and the bottom to probably about the middle of that feather, like this. Kind of get one that goes like that, and then I can change direction on it can change direction with hearts or straight feathers, and I'll follow this down, come out with another little feather. And I'm filling these right into the base of that other flower. And now I know I have quite a bit of space, so I can make some really pretty feathers. Coming back always. There we go. There we go. So I've got that one finished. Now I'll come right over here, finish the inside of this one. When I can go around one of those leaves, I do, but otherwise I just can't worry about them. Okay, and then I'm going to follow the stem down. Little teardrop always starts your feathers off nicely. There we go. These are very tiny feathers in that little area. Now I have all of this area above here and all of that to fill in. So let's see what happens. We reach out, come over, reach clear out, come down. Feathers are turning a direction. Best advice I can give you is just try to keep coming back almost to the same place. There we go. And just a couple of little ones to fill in. And we have that entire area filled in. On my photograph, from the tip of this flower, and this flower wasn't always in exactly the same spot, but in any case, I just drew a line down here so that this side will be distinguished from this side, like that. And I will start at the bottom, and we'll do this upper part first, starting again with the teardrop, coming around, clear over to the dress. Like this. These will be small. I'll just sort of do some fill-in feathers here. Okay, we're going to continue coming over like this. Here's another hint. You see, I'm not going all the way back. I'm just following this feather over and then doing another feather. Because I have a whole area up here that I need to fill in. Then as I come back, I can start out with just my long arm feathers, up and round and back, up and round and back. And now I will come all the way over, fill in this corner. Oh, this is fun. Wow. Just so fun. You know, on an antique quilt like this, where they're just not, they look the same, I guess, from a distance, but holy cow, they are all different. I can see where my line is. There we go. I'm going to follow this back up, follow this back down, and so I can start down here. I'm just going to fill this little area in right there. and then come back. You can do anything with feathers, absolutely anything. And I'm just making sure this area all gets filled in. And there we go. Now we just have to worry about what we're going to put on the applique little girl. On the skirt, I am just stitching in between the stripe and the plain, like this, using my straight ruler. I think I will just do maybe a couple of little lines across the bottom like this area. And then I think I'm going to put, well, you know what? If I keep going and I make a point, maybe a couple of them, and then come up to a V like this, it will make a heart. Then I can come down, similar to what I did to the flowers in this particular block. That's cute. Then we'll come up here, and since I did a heart there, I'm going to go ahead and do a heart here. Maybe put a teardrop on it. Come down like that, and then let's just feather all the way around it. Up and down with some feathers. And then on some of the skirts I have been doing just some lines come down like this and back up, just to make it look like there was lots of extra fullness in there. And to just quilt that area a little bit. Although I think that's plenty to leave unquilted. Just depends on what you want to do. So then we will come up here, and we can go right in between the little other part of the dress. And I'm going to roll up, and then we'll finish her bonnet and the shoulder piece. In this shoulder piece, I think I'm going to just come down with the teardrop like that. Come over with a little curl and back, and then another feather. Could even do that feather first, and then this teardrop or this curl. Come around and come back to that. That's cute. Now for the bonnet. Knowing I had 9 bonnets, I just sketched 10 little ideas quickly, and I've been checking them off as I go, unless I get another idea. And I think I like this one for that. So I'm just going to do that one. So I'm going to go just move up right here like this and use my straight edge to walk myself up, stitching along the side of this like that. And then I'm just going to do some little like polka dots. They're not really, really round though. Then I'll come over here, go up. I'm only going to go halfway up on this side because I'm going to come up like this, and this will make my ferns as I come over. Come up again and go on the other side. Ooh, that makes really nice texture. So just make sure they're curved as you come back. we can just walk up the side of that, do some little stitches, and we are finished with this block. The sashings were all different sizes. At the top and the bottom, I had sashings big enough that I felt like I could put a computerized design in there, and I thought these little hearts were perfect. But on the sides, sometimes I had little narrow sashing, and then I had wider sashing. So this little design is so easy to put anywhere, and it does take up some of that extra fullness, and so that it makes it look quilted. And in fact, if you come back over to this side, this was actually the end of the quilt. That was it. So I added the borders because I felt like it needed something else, and this fabric was perfect for it. But you know, an antique quilt is what it is, and so you deal with it and you learn to love it as you're working on it, and really wish that whoever the maker was could see what you were able to accomplish with their hard work. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had as much fun watching as I did quilting. So let's look at some of these individual blocks, and thank you again for joining me. See you next time.